Vladimir Putin, a friend to all in the Middle East. From the leaders of Iran and Turkey to Israel and Syria, Putin is presenting himself as a mediator who can be relied on. Since Russia began its military campaign in Syria in 2015, the country has become an important player in the region. Russia joined forces with Iran to back the Syrian government, providing air support. Most recently, Russia and Syria have stepped up their bombing campaign in Idlib province, the last remaining rebel stronghold. Russia's military support has helped prop up Syria's President Bashar al-Assad and guaranteed Moscow an important geopolitical foothold in the Middle East. As the U.S. pulls its troops out of Syria, Russia has remained.
Our armed forces and our military equipment have demonstrated the growing power of the Russian army and navy and the high combat capability of its forces.
Russia also condemned the U.S. assassination of Iranian General Qassem Soleimani this week as reckless and has repeatedly backed Iran in its ongoing confrontation with the U.S. Putin consistently criticizes American policy in the Middle East and has tried to present Russia as a more reliable partner. After U.S. President Trump decided to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal in 2018, the Russian leader has repeatedly said his country would continue to support the agreement.
We believe that the only sensible decision is for all the participants in the Iran nuclear deal to honor their commitments. And that is exactly what Russia intends to do.
This week, Putin called for a ceasefire in Libya as well. Fighting there has escalated in recent months. And although Russia has refused to officially side with one of the warring parties, according to media reports, Russian mercenaries have been on the ground for months, supporting General Khalifa Haftar against the UN-backed Libyan government. As U.S. influence in the Middle East wanes, Russia is working hard to fill the void.
We've got some analysis on Merkel's visit to Russia. Let's bring in DW's Emily Sherwin in Moscow. And here in the studio is our political correspondent, Thomas Sparrow. Thomas, we'll start with you. Before these talks today, Merkel's spokesman said Russia was an important actor on the world stage, very praising words, indispensable in solving political conflicts. What is it that Merkel wants from these talks today with Putin?
In short, Merkel probably wants some clarity as to what role Russia could play to try and de-escalate tensions in the region. Germany is aware that Russia plays a very important role when it comes to Iran, when it comes to Syria, when it comes to Libya. And those are all issues that are going to be discussed today, or that are probably already being discussed between the Russian leader and the German leader. And it's important to stress that these two leaders have met on many, many occasions in the past. They've been in power for a very long time in Russia and in Germany. They know each other very well. They speak the language of each other's countries. So Angela Merkel speaks Russian and Vladimir Putin speaks German. They know each other, as I said, very well. And as such, I think that explains why Germany in particular, not, for example, another country, another leader of another European country, went to Moscow to try and find out exactly how Russia, as a very influential player in the Middle East, could try and help to de-escalate tensions.
So two leaders with a very long-established working relationship. Emily, we'll go to you. Merkel is really after Putin's influence here. How is this being viewed in the Kremlin?
Well, that absolutely plays into what the Kremlin wants. Vladimir Putin has taken care in recent years to very much present himself as a key player in the Middle East and as a mediator in Middle East conflicts, as Thomas said, when it comes to Syria in particular. And in the run-up to this meeting, we've seen kind of a flurry of diplomatic activity from Putin as well. He met with the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in Syria this week, and he's also been talking about Libya a lot. He spoke to Erdogan, Turkey's leader, this week in person, and he's been making calls yesterday and today. He spoke to three leaders about Libya and has been calling for peace there. So I think he's really taking care to present himself as a key player that Merkel can look to, and especially as a player that is more reliable than the U.S. Russia has also taken care to kind of present present the U.S. and Donald Trump in particular as reckless when it comes to the Iran nuclear deal, when it comes to the recent killing of the Iranian General Soleimani, which Russia also called reckless. And today they will be hoping to kind of bring Germany, that important partner, as Thomas said, on side.
So speaking of the Iran nuclear deal, we'll go back to you, Thomas. Germany and Russia want to salvage this, but Iran has said, in light of what's been happening with the US, it's scrapping its nuclear enrichment limits as dictated by the agreement. What can Russia and Germany do about this?
Germany's foreign minister in particular said that Germany still wants the Iran nuclear deal, but it is not willing to simply stand by and watch while Iran takes steps away from the Iran nuclear deal. And it's important, and that's probably why one issue that will be discussed is exactly how they can try and make sure that Iran complies as much as possible with the Iran nuclear deal. Another issue that is particularly important, at least here in Germany, that's something that's been developing also in recent times, is that idea that Donald Trump presented that maybe another deal should be discussed, a broader deal with Iran that not only focuses on its nuclear ambitions, but that includes, for example, its role in the region, its wider role in the region. And we've heard from several German politicians saying that maybe Germany should also try and discuss whether that is a possibility. So I do expect that in the discussions between Vladimir Putin and Angela Merkel, they will also discuss whether another deal with Iran, which also includes those regional ambitions, could be in any way discussed and included.
OK. Emily, there's a lot happening today, as we've been hearing. What else can we expect from these talks?
Well, it seems likely that the two leaders will touch on Nord Stream 2 after U.S. sanctions against that gas pipeline between the two countries were brought in December. But also a particular focus today seems to be Libya. Berlin has been pushing for a peace conference on Libya in the coming weeks to take place in Berlin. And it seems that Russia could be on side when it comes to that. Putin has been calling for peace. He's been speaking to leaders, calling for a ceasefire in Libya. So it seems likely that Putin may come out and support that conference. In fact, he also cautiously already supported it along with Erdogan this week. Russia, of course, hasn't officially taken sides in that conflict, but they have potentially been tacitly supporting Haftar in his advance on the UN-backed government in Tripoli with mercenaries. But it seems that, again, there on Libya, we might be seeing a united front between Russia and Germany today.
Our correspondent in Moscow, Emily Sherwin. Thank you, Emily. And here in the studio, political correspondent Thomas Barrow. Thank you very much, Thomas.